Greetings. I'm Barrister Abubakar Yesufu, Chairman League of Patriotic Lawyers and former President, Student Union, University of Benin.
Okay, there is this rift that is currently ongoing between the chairman of the National Crime Commission and the
Yeah.
one of the reactions to one of the recent statements, did say that those who are against him and those who want corruption how exactly do you mean?
Yeah, you'll discover that for the first time in the history of legislation in court, the National Assembly members, which constitute the Senate and House of Representatives, plus the DSS, they were unanimous in the non-confirmation of Magu. The only deductible conclusion, so to say, is that this man is actually a scourge in the wheel of progress of corruption. And that is why there is unity of purpose in his removal. As far as we are concerned, at the league's level, we believe such a man that has showed courage, that has showed strength, engaged members of the Senate, and some very, very big people, so to say, in the country, should be supported and strengthened so that the war of corruption will be fought strongly and determinedly.
Okay.
We have often said in our presentations, symposia, lectures, if there's anything that tends to derogate on the anti-corruption war by Ibrahim Magu, the people should be free to bring it to the fore. It will not suffice for you to stay at the background and throw tantrums at the man that has done so much for the anti-corruption crusade. If you agree with me that even in the Senate, more than 15 senators, they are facing trial. Some governors, past and present, they are facing trial. And it stands to reason that the battle is actually divided into two. The Ibrahim Magu represents the very, very powerless conscience. While the Senate, the governors, both serving and not serving, they constitute the very powerful, opposition. So it's basically two. Powerless conscience, as represented by the EFCC, and conscienceless power, as represented by the House of Representatives and the Superior Senate. So it's a battle. So whichever line you want to take, is just to so elect. But I want to believe that, history is in its making. And when the history of the anti-corruption war is being scribbled down, you will just take your stand. Say that you are going to belong to the visible page of history that endureth forever, or you're going to belong to the footnote that will soon be swept, under the carpet and put in the dustbin of forgotten things. And it reminds me of what that great patriot, French citizen, if I remember his name, I will oblige you. He actually joined the Algerians in fighting his home country. That was actually Francis Fanon, born in 1924. He died in 1954. He said, with your permission, that tomorrow, or history, will have no pity for those people who, possessing the exceptional privilege of being able to speak words of truth to their oppressors, but they are taking refuge in an attitude of passivity, mute indifference, and sometimes of cold complicity. It does not matter whosoever is bringing forth Ibrahim Magu. If it's good, let us acknowledge that this man is good. You discover that even in the history of economic EFCC, we've had very two courageous fighters, Ribadu and Magu. Only recently, Ribadu, that has been very quiet, came out and endorsed Magu. Suffice it to say that during the era of Ribadu, Magu was actually the brain boss. Most of those arrests, prosecution, conviction, and acquittal were done by Magu. So little do ever wonders that Ribadu is coming, belatedly though, to acknowledge him. Even the international community, they have also told us that this man should be given a trial. It doesn't matter whether it's coming from the bowel of the ruling party or the opposition. Let us strengthen him so that these people that are in government will be able to give them a very good fight. So the issue of witch hunting, like I said, you have the courts there. You have the Federal High Court, you have the Court of Appeal, you have the Supreme Court. If you are so concerned or you are unhappy with any findings, you can also go on appeal. As far as you are concerned, I think it's a question of giving the dog a backbone in order to handle it. Let us go behind by Magu. Let us strengthen him. Let us give him the necessary support, no matter whose horse is God. And let us ensure that these funds, very humongous funds, that have been taken away, stored in various capitals of the world, they are used in rehabilitating, the wretched of the earth. But that's what we stand for. Because at the leagues level, we believe, quite frankly, that there's an option to poverty, and that's what we crusade for. We also believe that there's an option to humongous funds being stored in warehouses, and we crusade for that. We also believe too that this poverty, hunger, and disease, or what the late Adekunle Kokuti would call a PhD, we can always overcome it. That is not to say that we are endorsing any government. We're endorsing the Buhari's administration. We're always saying that if there's a good team player, acknowledge it, even if that player is coming from the ruling or the opposition, notwithstanding. I think Magu has showed courageous outing. We should come out and ensure that he's not taken to the cleaners, he's not unduly vilified. This afternoon, we wrote a letter, copied the EFCC. I guess a copy will be with them in Abuja, that accusation should be investigated and thoroughly pursued. As a matter of fact, we have also written to President Buhari that whosoever is found culpable should be guillotined. In fact, it is our opinion at the league that both Barrow and Kachuku that are involved in this skullduggery should be taken out. They should be replaced. They are not indispensable. That's how we stand. So it's very disturbing, and we have written very acerbic letters that these two gentlemen should be asked to take leave so that we can foster peace and unity that's so much required in that cash cow NNPC.
Because one of the strong points in the application for the lot of
the invitation of Ibrahim Magu by the National Assembly on the instigation, so to say, by the former First Lady, Mrs. President Jonathan, is in our opinion, out of place in a very subtle manner. Because if you look at what we are talking about, we have spheres of government: the judiciary, legislature, and the executive. And sections 4, 58, 59, and section 100 of the Constitution of 1999, Nigerian Constitution of 1999, gives the power of National Assembly to really carry out their oversight function. It does not include impinging on the powers of the court to determine matters. You realize that Mrs. Jonathan's case is already before competent courts, and it will be act of place. It will be derogating on the functions of the judiciary if same is taken over by the National Assembly for inquiries or determination. In fact, we are strengthened by some cases like Tony Momo versus the Senate of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, like El Rufai versus National Assembly, like the Attorney General of Bendel State versus the Attorney General of the Federation. These are all cases that tend to lend credence to the fact that once a matter has been taken to court, it is engaged the rule of natural justice, equity, and fair play for National Assembly to dabble into such matters. So as far as we are concerned as the league, we believe that this matter is sub judice, it is before the court. It is even illegal for Ibrahim Magu to reopen that case at the National Assembly. So they should allow the court to determine that case and come out with their findings.
Okay, sir, I cannot quite recall.
Coincidentally, Professor Sage is well known to me, was my dean in the University of Benin. He admitted me and indeed graduated me and some other very, very distinguished, so to say, members of the Nigerian society. It is unfortunate that the Senate spokesman and even the APC spokesperson, they are taking on Professor Sage because he actually was outraged at the salaries and allowances of, firstly, members of the National Assembly. A situation whereby a senator earns as much as 30 million naira a month, 2 point something billion a year. When you juxtapose that with our minimum wage, it's right. It's not only outrageous. I think it's criminal, and it should be condemned by all right-thinking members of the society. I'm surprised and actually scandalized that these two groups, so to say, the spokesperson for the National Assembly and the spokesperson for the APC, they have reached a consensus to attack this very erudite professor. I think the best way to win an argument is not to throw tantrums, is to present a better argument. Up to today, as we speak, it is unfortunate that nobody in Nigeria knows what is the standard emoluments of our lawmakers. And, when you ask them, they normally take you to the cleaners like they have taken a poor argument to the cleaners. I think he does not really call for that. If the man is saying this is your salary, come out and say, dispute him, and let it come out to the open so that people will be able to get an informed opinion. So throwing tantrums or attacking Sagi below the bed does not solve the matters. If anything, it's as a bit same. So as far as we are concerned, this is part of the regulations of the national conference, that the emoluments, that indeed lawmaking should be on part-time basis, so that this so-called humongous and very stupefying allowances and salaries that is not comparable to anywhere in the world. And that is why we are saying that to give that national conference report a second look. But like we have often said, it is unfortunate that people like Sagi is being vilified. If we really do not really take them seriously, because if you need to be very, as that philosopher would say, beware of those who are constantly critical of others. For when you turn your back, they may deal with you with the same manner. Such is the identity of the negative man. Avoid them like the plague, unquote. So if you have a better argument why these humongous salaries and allowances, they are justified, come out in the open. Don't refer or don't resort to blackmail, intimidation, lambast and lampoon, to use your words. So it is uncharitable, and it does not tally well with the tenets of scholarship and intellectual acquisition that we have so much gotten in our various universities. It's actually shameful that the APC, what Sage said, is not in any way different. You don't need a magician to tell you that the parties, both PDP and APC, they are not only inchoate, they are not cohesive and indisciplined. You don't need a Professor Sage to tell you this. So it's unfortunate. We really need a cohesive party. We really need a cohesive and disciplined organization to midwife our democracy and ensure that the dividends therein, they are taken to the people. With this type of incohesive party, with this type of party that lacks credence, party that lacks discipline, is unfortunate whether the dividends of democracy will actually reach its destination. So we agree with Sage, and want to say it without fear of contradiction, that the best way you win an argument is not by kicking somebody in the groin, it's by presenting the facts as it were, or presenting a better argument, so to say. But those of us that were taught to fight, not with the bullet of a soldier, but the pillars of the intellect, we do believe along this line that you win an argument by presenting a better argument, or presenting facts to debunk what Sage has said so far. As it stands, nobody, both at the Senate level and even the APC level, has been able to debunk Sage's presentation. This indiscipline in APC is not unique in itself. Even PDP, it is also very, very prominent. So it is a clarion call for the two giant parties to come together and give us a cohesive and disciplined party. So Sage has been patriotic, that notwithstanding the facts that he was actually appointed by an APC government, he did not spare them in lambasting and lampooning them, and ensuring that they take, good step to give a cohesive and disciplined party to the people. And it is also a clarion call to the opposition party, PDP, to put the house in order and give APC an effective challenge. Therein lies the seed of democracy. So that when that same seed is planted, it can grow to a very big baobab tree in which the best of the air comes to seek refuge and repose. You have three, so to say, levels of courts. You have the Federal High Court, which is often the court where you start your matters of this nature, and it goes to the Court of Appeal and ends in the Supreme Court. As far as I'm concerned, there is the Jonathan's matter. Mrs. Jonathan's case is before Justice Joseph Soho of the Federal High Court in Abuja. So it has not been determined. Indeed, it is that same case is adjourned to 17th of November. So it is contentious of anybody to say that matter has not been determined. So until there is a final determination of that case, which I guess will end up in the Supreme Court, after the Federal High Court goes to the Court of Appeal and the Supreme Court. So I would not say that the EFCC is not responding. There is on appeal. Some of these matters are on appeal, and until it gets to its destination, Federal High Court, Appeal Court, and Supreme Court. So it will be uncharitable to say that they have not given effect to the ruling of the court. It's not permanent, so most of these cases, they are still ongoing.
Okay, in one of your recent reactions,
yeah. Yes.
You didn't mention the recently concluded contract.
Yes. I don't believe that. I am one of those people that will always say that Jonathan, was a gentle leader. He tried his best. The unfortunate thing was that he surrounded himself with questionable characters that are plaguing him. I do not think he had enough time. I think they were really sincere. So the issue, especially the issue of restructuring, which is key, which is basically the thing of that confab, is being used as an instrument of deceit to even deceive the people. Restructuring, if that is a central thing you want us to discuss about, as contained in that confab, is a kind of philosophy that is sometimes used by political actors to cause confusion. Yes, yeah. You will agree with me that when PDP was in power, restructuring was the clarion call that if they come to power, they would effect what is contained in the restructuring elements, so to say. But as soon as they come to power, they are not talking about setting up a committee and all that. It stands to reason that if you want to use restructuring, or people are trying to use restructuring as a weapon to cause confusion. Restructuring at the leagues level, we have three types. One, you have those proponents of restructuring. They are genuine patriots. They really want restructuring, especially fiscal restructuring. FISCAL. Fiscal restructuring is virtually impossible under the present dispensation, because the people you want to restructure the funds out of their hands, they will be ready to struggle this, to fight you, and ensure that you are wrestled to the ground. And the genuine people that are proponents of restructuring, as contained in the fourth compartment, they're doing it out of genuine and patriotic quest. Then you have also the second group, which is based on deceit and political opportunism. They've lost out in the political calculation, so they're using the structuring to negotiate. Every grape denied you must be bad or sour. Whilst they were in power, they did not really restructure, they did not talk about anything restructuring. So they're using this because they have lost out in political calculation to harass the government. Then you have the third group. We call them the Aristides illiterate voter. They are rather confused. They don't really know what the elements of restructuring contains. If you go back to history, Aristides was the hero of the Wapos War. He was known for his incorruptibility. He was very just. So much so that Temistoko, a famous rival, initiated the ostracism, famous ostracism, the idea of putting people into exile. When he met this illiterate voter, he didn't know that he was talking to Aristides, who wanted to vote for the banishment of Aristides. He said, quote, "Inscribe into this ostrach share the word Aristides, so that I too will vote for his banishment." The Aristides now confronted him. "Has this man ever offended you?" He said, "No." But the powers that be said he should be ostracized. So Aristides inscribed the word Aristides into the ostrach share, and Aristides went into exile. So there are people like that. They do not really know what they are talking about. So as that history will have it, 3 years later, Aristide was called back from exile when Zese Opeshe threatened with his Christian armada to dismantle the Greek city-states. Aristide in that history distinguished himself in the bloody battles of Plataea and Salamis. So like Aristides irritated voters. There are people in the polity. If you ask them what's the structure, they say it's going to bring money from Abuja into our hands. That is not the type of restructuring we're talking about. The restructuring we want is not only physical, PHYSICA. We also want fiscal restructuring that will take funds, these humongous funds that Professor Sage is talking about, from these people back to the people. So it is an all-embracing thing. National Assembly, they genuinely believe in restructuring, fiscal restructuring. They're using this as a ploy to deceive, in quote, the people. And when you are making an argument, you want to play on the intelligence of the people, using the people as a pawn. We call it argumentum ad populi, trying to play on the weakness of the people. And we should actually come together and let us look at those genuine elements of the confab of 2014. They are very good. If we adopt them, I think we'll get to the Eldorado. But whether the National Assembly, 8th National Assembly, as properly constituted, can be the vehicle for driving that restructuring, I doubt. And I doubt it very much, without fear of contradiction.
Okay, sir, what is the position of the league?
So it's like killing a fly with a sledgehammer. I think the government exceeded the bounds of reason. I think they ought to have allowed, the head of that IPOB to amuse himself, because no matter how you look at it, the guy had some very sound principles under which he was driving his IPOB. So right now, it's not in the psyche of everybody in the world. Before the arrest and even arraignment for treason or treasonable felony, it was virtually unknown. Now he has the organization is being proscribed. It's becoming more popular. So I do not believe in some of those, the modus operandi in which he went about agitating for his Biafra element and all that. But I agree with some of those things, that the country is oppressive, the country is downtrodden, where few people, they are just there, in government. When we say National Assembly should not be seen in isolation. It includes the executive, and to a very large extent, the judiciary. Members of National Assembly, elevated by their great riches and even prestige, they have become so arrogant. They look down on other Nigerians with contemptible eyes, esteeming us no more than slaves. So at that point, the IPOB was able